All right, guys, I wanted to talk about how to prepare for and what to expect on your first track day. And first things first, let's just get this out of the bag. Be humble. Don't go out there thinking or putting pressure on yourself that you're going to go out there and kick somebody's ass, because you're going out there in a setting that you've never been before, and you're just going to set yourself up for disappointment if you think you're going to go out there and rally the car better than everyone else around you. Don't think about it that way. Just go out there, be humble, and be willing to experience something new and be willing to learn so much in such a short amount of time. It's very mentally strenuous going on the track for the first time, but it's worth every single second. And if you put some sort of pressure on yourself to perform above and beyond what you're going to be capable of, it's just going to be disappointing. So let's get that out of the way, be humble, have a good time, and be ready for a new experience. All right, what should you do to expect and prepare for your first track day experience? I figured I'd just put together a couple little things to let you know so that your first experience is the best one that you can have. I already mentioned be humble. Hopefully that goes without saying, but number one I would say is mentally prepare. Well, I think most guys put themselves in a position where they feel like they're going to go out there and do really well right away, and they have all these predetermined notions of how their day is going to go. I would say to get rid of any of that. Forget about everything you know about driving and be willing to go out and experience something brand new with an open mind. Forget about what you already know. Forget about any other experiences that you've had. If it doesn't have to do with a road course type track, it's going to be different. So be willing to expect that and be willing to enjoy the fact that it's something completely new that you've never done before. The second thing that I would say that you need to do is physically prepare. I'm not saying go out there and run a mile for every day in a straight week, but be ready to understand that you're going to get worn out. Drink plenty of fluids, and if you know that you're going to be going to the track a week or two in advance, start working something physical. Jog, do some sit-ups, do some push-ups throughout the day. Get yourself ready, because you're going to be sore after the end of your first track day. It actually takes a lot out of you physically, and if you're prepared, especially if you're doing like a 2-day session or a 3-day session, you're not going to be so worn out the second day. All right, the third thing that I think is very important, and I know that this is probably the number one thing most guys start worrying about right away, is prepare your car. And what does that really mean? We all have these certain levels of race car mentality that we have, for our street car or whatever it is that you're going to be taking to the track. But realistically, for your first track day, if you can go out in even if it's a base model car, it's fine. Just make sure that your brake pads are as close to new as possible. Your rotors are. Your brake fluid is new. I mean, brakes. I will discuss brakes over and over and over. They're the most important part. They're going to make you feel confident on the racetrack. They're going to make you feel consistent on the racetrack. So making sure that you have a decent brake pad, even if you can change the brake pad material, a good starter pad would be a Hawk. In the race side of things, I definitely would not recommend a Hawk. But when it comes to getting on the track first time, a Hawk pad is by far going to be better than going and getting like the top pad that you can get at O'Reilly or Checker or wherever. So maybe look at upgrading your pad material, get a decent rotor. You do not need slotted rotors. You do not need vented rotors. Just a good standard OEM rotor will be a fantastic rotor. A good new rotor, a good new pad is going to help. Bleed the brakes, get some new fluid in there. And then make sure all your wheel bearings are good, your tires are good. You don't have to have a track type tire. I mean, you just want something that's going to give you a good consistent feel, and that you're not going to have to worry about the tire blowing while you're on track or something like that. Go through, make sure your lugs are tight, torque them down, start your tire pressures properly. On a street tire, I would say probably somewhere in that 28 pound to 30 pound range. On a slick, DOT slick type tire, you're going to be between 22 and 25 pounds. So prepare the car, make sure that it's ready. But I think preparing yourself is probably just as, if not more important than preparing the car. One more thing about being mentally prepared is if you do go out with an open mind, you are going to learn so much new stuff that you've never experienced before. And I'm a firm believer that next night, your brain downloads everything. So you're going to be getting so much information thrown at you. You know, especially if you're involved with the National Auto Sports Association, you're going to go out on your first day. It's an HPD E1 day, and you're going to have an instructor in your passenger seat. And that instructor is going to be throwing a ton of shit at you all day long. And by the end of the day, each corner you come to, you're going to start kind of remembering, oh yeah, I said this or he said that, but you're gonna forget a lot of stuff too. That night, I feel like your brain is going to download all the information, and it's very taxing. You're very mentally strained at the end of the day, the next day, and if you're doing a 2-3 day session, you're doing 2-3 days in a row. You know, it helps to get the sleep. Let your brain download everything. Don't over stress about whether or not you're reaching a certain potential or goal in a certain amount of time. We all learn things different ways, different amount of time, and be willing to understand it's okay. Let the stress, dissipate as much as you can. Don't worry about all the things that are being thrown at you, and let your brain kind of do the thinking for you. Over time, it all just becomes easier and easier. So don't overcomplicate it, and don't feel like, I didn't perform to a standard that I thought I would my first day on track, and I don't like this anymore. It's going to be very mentally taxing, but it's so worth it. Every driver that I know, we kind of joke about how difficult it was at first, but that was the challenge, and that was part of the enjoyment of going out there. I personally feel like track experience, track time, it's very therapeutic. I am able to go out on the track and focus 100% of my mind on one specific thing for a whole day. And I just haven't really come across anything else where I get to have that type of experience. It's exhausting, but it's worth every second. All right, with that all said, hopefully this information was helpful. I hope you get out there on the track. Understand that you can have a great time the first time out, even though it's something completely new, and you're going to probably get hooked. So enjoy it, have a great time, get a hold of your local NASA office here in Utah. We're at nasautah.com. I'm pretty positive they have regions across the entire United States. You can go to nasaproracing.com as well. That should break down each different location. And just get a hold of the NASA, your local NASA office. Sign up for an HPD one day, get out there and have a great time and get to know the guys out on track. And hopefully it's a new hobby for you and you get to experience something in a whole new light that you've never been able to do before.